guys. So today we are taking down the joists. We are expecting 30 centimeters of snow in the next, I think it's 3 days. They've got a weather warning starting, but we've got all today to work on the joists and get those down. They're actually super heavy and a lot of work to get down. I think there's 13 of them all together. We've already taken out one, so it shouldn't be that bad. We should be able to get that done by today, and that's really all that we're putting on the docket for today, just because everything else we can do, we can just brush off the snow and do that, you know, even if it's snowing at the time. But we really do want to get those joists down so that we're not standing up on the scaffolding in the snow and the wind. So yeah, we're gonna get that done today, and it's pretty exciting because after that's down, it's gonna be no time until the whole thing's gone. So yay!
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. Washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit. There's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a new day to get you through your struggles. I will always think of you and me. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit. There's a new day, it is waiting for us. There's a new day waiting round the bend. There's a new day, and it will restore us. There'll be new ways. This is not the end.
Et voilà.
didn't end up getting 30 centimeter snow. We actually didn't get any snow at all. We basically got 2 days of rain and miserable weather.
Yeah, a little gray and cold and meh.
Yeah, but everything's still melting. And so our plan now is to start working on that floor.
Yep, floor time.
Yeah, and so we have 2 layers of floor, and then we have that basically half basement that we have to take all of the rock out of.
That's stone foundation around the perimeter.
Yeah.
Clean that all out and then do some more digging, assuming that the ground is thawed enough.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, and once we get to that point and all of that's out, we can start to build our new home. So that is super exciting.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped.
Yeah.
So just before I forget, and I know this is funny because it's a pretty singular, unique thing. Not everybody's going out and buying 100 and some year old farmhouses to tear down. But I will just say this, just for anybody that's in any kind of similar situation, an old barn, an old garage, whatever. I think the approach that we took was sound, with just one exception. So, going in the order that we took things off, we took the roofing material off, the tin, right, or the steel or whatever, and we took off all the old tile shingles, and then the wood, like the purlins or whatever, the sheathing on top. Then once we had the roof off and we were down to the walls, we started taking down the sheathing, and really what order you take it out, inside, outside, that's really up to you and how you want to kind of try to keep the elements out. To be perfectly honest, if we had done this all over from scritchety scratch, the first thing that I would have done when we got here was just simply buy a couple of rolls of like Tyvek, like house wrap, and just go all around the farmhouse on the outside. Just 2 rows of it or whatever it would take, just to cover it up, so that way we know it's air sealed, it's not letting water in anymore, or at least a lot less water, and then we could have done whatever the hell we wanted on the inside, without having to worry about snow blowing in through the cracks and things as we took the sheathing off. So that is one thing. If you could spare the expense, is Tyvek's relatively expensive, I guess. It depends on what your budget is. But the other thing is, and I thought about it, and then we just kind of forgot it as we winged our way through, is the row of sheathing around the inside, just below the joist. We should have left that in, like on the east and the west sides, because the joist can sit on top. So what we ended up doing was, for the ones where I'd really forgotten about that and taken all the sheathing off the inside, I had to go back up and screw in like 2x4s into the studs, so that we had that ledger sitting beneath the joists. So when you go to take them off, you got to pound it off at one end, and you're either going to have Kim there waiting with me to hold it while I climb down up the other scaffolding and take the other side off, which is horribly inefficient, or having that ledger board, that piece of sheathing across underneath the joist. You could just leave the joist resting on top of that, go pound the other one off like we did, and then Kim goes up the other scaffolding and we just take it down together. So that was one thing. The other thing would be not just leaving that ledger board around the top on the inside, but either on the outside or the inside, I don't think it matters, leave at least 1 or 2 rows of sheathing to tie all the studs together. Because what ended up happening was, once we started taking the joists off, then the studs are really...
Which was the only thing that we had planned for that day, because they're super heavy.
Yeah.
They were like flying in the wind.
Yeah.
So we had to take them down.
Just flapping around in the wind. And it was funny too, like you could see over time the repairs that had been done, and you know what I mean, not well, who knows where they are and whatever, if they'll ever see this video or put 2 and 2 together. but some of the things that were done kind of, I would say, toward the end or in the middle were a little questionable. Like when they went to repair some of the studs, it looks like they were either reinforcing or reattaching them. Originally, you found 2 things in that house. You either found square nails, the vast majority, anything that was tacking the sheathing into the studs, anything that was attaching like little pieces for the stairs themselves, all square nails, with the exception of all the framing members. All the studs that were towed into the joists or into the top plate were all using great big, like 4.5 inch like smooth spikes. So I could tell, like when we took down some of them you need to give it a good push, the studs, to just get it to fall over, and others they just fell right off, and you could see they had been re-towed in with additional nails, but only like these little thin crappy nails, and I don't think they would have done much of anything. Like the sum of the parts again, and I think I mentioned this in one of our earliest videos, they have that term habit, which is the complete, solidity of the structure based on all the components, your sheathing, any reinforcements, blocking, all the different things that are nailed together that give it its final kind of structure and solidity. But the individual components, some of them are dodgy, super dodgy. Like if you look at the front, the whole front, and I don't remember the name of this, but when you have your joists, they run parallel to each other, and then you have a member at the end to tie them together. It escapes me, but at the front of the house, that whole piece that's meant to be nailed into the ends of the studs was completely and utterly rotten, like eaten out by ants. Some of the wood at the edges of the foundation were like literally they turned to powder, like super fine wood-based baby powder. So yeah, it's just neat to see. But
pretty crazy. Yeah. Long story short, it was a very long day.
Yeah.
We were out there until easily 8 o'clock. Because we knew that the bad weather was coming. We wanted to make sure that all of that was away in our little makeshift tent.
Yep.
And so yeah, we didn't mind that we had 2 days of rain because it was nice to take a little break. It was pretty exhausting because all of the stuff that we had to take down that day was very heavy and hard to put away and hard to kind of maneuver, and so we were glad we did it.
We're grateful for the daylight, but it's also the curse, right? So now we're getting longer days. You got to watch yourself not to, at least for myself, we both kind of push ourselves too much. It kind of reminded me of last summer because we were getting to the end and we're just kind of talking ourselves off the ledge and keep pushing and
trying not to be grumpy with each other.
Yeah, it was like doing 14, 16-hour days. Like when we first got out here in the summer, like you have all this daylight and you just don't think about it. You're just like, well, I work until the sun goes down, and holy smokes, it's a long time. So if you don't pay attention, your body will remind you, though.
Body always reminds you.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are ready to start on the floor.
Floor time.
And we're hoping that that's going to come up pretty quick. It did on the second floor, so...
Yep. Yeah, and we'll see what the floor underneath looks like. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. It could be a royal mess. I thought originally it was just like some kind of like old school underlay or like the replacement for plywood that would go down first on top of the joist. But you can see the ends of it where we pried up our test boards. It's been painted or finished with something. So that was the original floor. There was no subfloor. It was just simply joists, thick interlocking floor, and then another floor on top. So I'm assuming the state of the floor underneath can't be great, else they wouldn't have covered up with a second floor. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
You'll see too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't listen to what everyone else says. Take your time. You're not their mess. Yeah, you might not be at your best, but it's fine. I don't mind telling truths when you need to hear them, and be kind when that's what you prefer. How about when